भक्त इषवसहस्राक्षशतेषु धे निषेव्य शल्यानां मुखा शिवो न सुमने शन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निशं गतिः या ते हेतिर्मीडुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमते उभाभ्यामुहरिते धन्वनो घेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अधो गगिषुदिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाज्ञाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यभागवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पदेमते पदीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवेतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगदां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथोहिताय स्तपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजा कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्क्रैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवेताय धाम पतये नमः नमः सगमानाय निव्याधिन आय निशङ्गिणे तेनानां पतये नमो नमो निशङ्गिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरविसृगाविभ्यो जिगागुंसद्भ्यो मुष्णदां पतये नमो नमो सिमद्भ्यो नक्तं चरद्भ्य प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नम उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नम इषुमद्भ्यो तन्माविभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आतन्मानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नम आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नम आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविध्यन्तेभ्यश्च वो नमो 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 कृत्सेभ्यो कृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेकेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो रथेभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः संग्रहेतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षद्भ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यः कृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यः श्वनेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः सर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिविविष्टाय च नमो मेरुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षेयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च समृद्ध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे चाजिराय च नमः शीघ्र्याय च शेभ्याय च नमः ऊर्ध्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः श्रोतस्याय च द्वेप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय च पगल्भाय च नमो जगन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोभ्याय च प्रतिसद्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च घल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय च वसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय च आशुरधाय च नमः शूराय च वविन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरोधिने च नमो विल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषुधिमते च नमः तीक्ष्णे शवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सोद्याय च सदस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कोप्याय च भट्याय च नमो वश्याय च वश्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ऐत्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च ॐ हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमः ताम्राय च रुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे बधाय च दूरे बधाय च नमो खन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्काराय नमः शम्भवे च मयो भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमः तीर्थ्याय च कोल्याय च नमः पाद्याय च वाद्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आताद्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्प्याय च भेन्याय च नमः सिगत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नमः हिरण्याय च प्रपत्याय च नमः शिलाय च क्षयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ट्याय च गृह्याय च नमस्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो गो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्ध्याय च सोर्व्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णछद्याय च नमो पगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नमः आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वक्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वक्केभ्यो नमः आनिर्हतेभ्यो नमः आमीवक्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसत्पदे दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणाम् येषां पशूनां मा भेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनु शिवा विश्वासभेषजे शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजे तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रवरामहे मतिम् यथा नः शमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृति क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्चञ्च योश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्यामतवरुद्र प्रणीतो मानो महान्तमुदमानो अर्भकं मान उक्षन्तमुदमान उक्षितम् मानो वधे पितरं मोत मातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामिदो बधेर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोघ्नमुत पोरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुन्नमस्मे ते हस्तो रक्षाजनो अधिजदेव ब्रोह्यधा जनः शर्म यच्चद्विबरुहाः स्तुहि श्रुतं गट्टसदं युवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्वमुग्रम् मृडाचरिद्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतुर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मदिरघायोः अवस्थिरा भगवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमीढस्तोकायतनयाय मृडय मेढुष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्तिं वसानमाचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विगिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुंहेतयोन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचेनामुखाकृते सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्या तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन् महत्यर्णवेन्तरिक्षे भवाधि नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठा सर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाश्रितिकण्ठा दिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्मिन् जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासक्कवर्तिनः ये अन्येषु विविद्यन्ते पात्रेषु विपदो जनान् ये पदाम्पतिरक्षय ऐलवृदायव्युदः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सृगावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्तिरे तेषागुंसहस्रयोजने वदन्वानि दन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये एन्तरिक्षे ये दिविगेशावन्नं वातो वरुषमिषभत्तेभ्यो दश प्राचेर्दश दक्षिणादश प्रदेशेर्दशोदेशेर्दशोर्ध्वात्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु ते यं द्विष्मो यश्च नोद्वेष्टितं भोजम्भे दधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नव्यो अप्सुय ओषधेषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु एते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्यो मत्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां गन्धिरतिरुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमस्तु यस्विषः सुधन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशो मनसाय रुद्रं नमो एवमसुरन्दुवस्य अयं मे हस्तो भगवान् अयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्वभेषजो यगो शिवाभिमरुषरः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियं च मे नु कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रं च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणं च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वं च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रं च मे सोश्च मे प्रसोश्च मे सेरं च मे लयश्च मरुतं च मे मृतं च मे यक्ष्मं च मे नामयच्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वं च मे नमित्रं च मे भयं च मे सुगं च मे शयनं च मे सोषा च मे सुदिनं च मे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ अत्रिणात्वा कृमे हन्मे कण्वेन जमदग्निना विश्वावसो ब्रह्मणा हतः कृमीणागुं राजा अप्येषागस्तपतिर्हतः अधो माताधो पिता अधो स्तूरा अधो क्षुद्रा अधो कृष्णा अधो श्वेता अधो पाशातिका हताः श्वेताभिः सह सर्वे हताः आघरावद्य श्रुतस्य हविषो यथा तत्सत्यम् यदमुय्यमस्य जम्भयोः आदधामि तथा हि तत् घण्घण्म्रसे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः सुष्ठुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नदसूर्याधर्वाङ्गिरसं व्याख्यास्यामः ब्रह्मा ऋषिः गायत्री छन्दः आदित्यो देवता हंसत्सोऽहमग्निनारायणयुक्तं बीजं हृल्लेखा शक्तिः वियदादिसर्गसंयुक्तं कीलकं चतुर्विध पुरुषार्थसिद्ध्यर्थे विनियोगः षट्स्वरारूढेन बीजेन षडङ्गं रक्ताम्बुजसंस्थितं सप्ताश्वरदिनं हिरण्यवर्णं चतुर्भुजं पद्मद्वयाभयवरदहस्तं कालचक्र प्रणेतारं श्रीसूर्यनारायणं य एवं वेद स वै ब्राह्मणः ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् सूर्य आत्मा जगतस्तस्तुषश्च सूर्याद्वै खल्विमानि भूतानि जायन्ते सूर्याद्यज्ञः पर्जन्यो नमात्मा नमस्ते आदित्य त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं कर्म कर्तासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं विष्णुरसि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं रुद्रोऽसि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं मृगसि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं यजुरसि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं सामासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षमथर्वासि त्वमेव सर्वं छन्दोसि आदित्याद् वायुर्जायते आदित्याद् भूमिर्जायते आदित्यादपो जायन्ते आदित्याद् ज्योतिर्जायते आदित्याद् व्योमदिशो जायन्ते आदित्याद् देवा जायन्ते आदित्याद् वेदा जायन्ते आदित्यो वागेश गेतन्मण्डलं तपते असावादित्यो ब्रह्मा आदित्योऽन्तःकरणमनो बुद्धिचित्ताहङ्काराः आदित्यो वै व्यानसमानो दानोपानप्राणः आदित्यो वै श्रोत्रत्वक्चक्षुरसनघ्राणाः आदित्यो वै वाक्पाणिपादपायूपस्ताः आदित्यो वै शब्दस्पर्शरूपरसगन्धाः आदित्यो वै वचनादानगमनविसर्गानन्दाः आनन्दमयो विज्ञानमयो विज्ञानघन आदित्यः
नमो मित्राय भानवे मृत्योर्मा पाहि
भ्राजिष्णवे विश्वहेतवे नमः सूर्यात् भवन्ति भूतानि सूर्येण पालितानि तु सूर्ये लयं प्राप्नुवन्ति यत् सूर्यः सोऽहमेव च चक्षुर्नो देवः सविता चक्षुर्न उत पर्वतः चक्षुर्दाता दधातु नः आदित्याय विद्महे सहस्रकिरणाय धीमहि तन्नः सूर्यः प्रचोदयात् सविता पुरस्तात् सविता पश्चात्तात् सवितोत्तरात्तात् सविता धरात्तात् सविता नः सुवतु सर्वदा दिगुं सवितान्नो रासदां दीर्घमायुः ओमित्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्मा घृणिरिति द्वे अक्षरे सूर्य इत्यक्षरद्वयम् आदित्य इति त्रीण्यक्षराणि एतस्यैव सूर्यस्याष्टाक्षरो मनुः यः सदाहरः जपति स वै ब्राह्मणो भवति स वै ब्राह्मणो भवति सूर्याभिमुखो जप्त्वा महाव्याधिभयात् प्रमुच्यते अलक्ष्मीर्नश्यते अभक्ष्यभक्षणात् पूतो भवति अगम्यागमनात् पूतो भवति पतितसम्भाषणात् पूतो भवति असत्सम्भाषणात् पूतो भवति मध्याह्ने सूर्याभिमुखः पठेत् सद्योत्पन्न पञ्चमहापातकात् प्रमुच्यते सैषा सावित्री विद्या न किञ्चिदपि न कस्मैचित् प्रशंसयेत् य एतान् महाभागः प्रातः पठति स भाग्यवान् जायते पशून् विन्दते वेदार्थं लभते त्रिकालमेतद्जप्त्वा क्रतुशतफलमवाप्नोति हस्तादित्ये जपति स महामृत्युं तरति स महामृत्युं तरति य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत् भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तेजोसि तत्ते प्रयच्छामि तेजस्वदस्तु मे मुखम् तेजस्वच्छिरो अस्तु मे तेजस्वान् विश्वतः प्रत्यङ् तेजसा संविवृद्धिमा ओजोसि तत्ते प्रयच्छामि ओजस्वदस्तु मे मुखम् ओजस्वच्छिरो अस्तु मे ओजस्वान् विश्वतः प्रत्यङ् ओजसा संविवृद्धिमा पयोसि तत्ते प्रयच्छामि पयस्वदस्तु मे मुखम् पयस्वच्छिरो अस्तु मे पयस्वान् विश्वत प्रत्यङ् पयसा सम्पिपृद्धिमा आयुरसे तत्ते प्रयच्छामि आयुष्मदस्तु मे मुखम् आयुष्मच्चिरो अस्तु मे आयुष्मान् विश्वत प्रत्यङ् आयुषा सम्पिपृद्धिमा इममग्र आयुषे वर्चसे कृते प्रियगुं रेतो वरुण सोमराजन् माते वास्मा अदिते चर्म यच्च विश्वे देवा जरदष्टिर्यदासत् आयुरसि विश्वायुरसि सर्वायुरसि सर्वमायुरसि यतो वातो मनोजवाः यतः क्षरन्ति सिन्धवः तासां त्वा सर्वासागुं रुचा अभिषञ्चामि वर्चसा समुद्र इवासि गम्भनाः सोम इवास्यताभ्यः अग्निरिव विश्वत प्रत्यङ् सूर्य इव ज्योतिषा विभोः अपाम्यो द्रवणे रसः तमहमस्मामुष्यायणाय तेजसे ब्रह्मवर्चसाय गृह्णामि अपाम्य ऊर्मौ रसः तमहमस्मामुष्यायणाय ओजसे वीर्याय गृह्णामि अपाम्यो मध्यतो रसः तमहमस्मामुष्यायणाय पुष्ट्यै प्रजननाय गृह्णामि अपाम्यो यज्ञयो रसः तमहमस्मामुष्यायणाय आयुषे दीर्घायुत्वाय गृह्णामि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ गणानां त्वा त्वा गणानां गणानां त्वा गणपतिं गणपतिं त्वा गणानां गणानां त्वा गणपतिं त्वा गणपतिं गणपतिं त्वा त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे हवामहे गणपतिं त्वा गणपं हवामहे कविं कविगुं हवामहे मिति गणपतिं हवामहे कविं हवामहे कविं कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तममुपमश्रवस्तमं कवीनां कविं कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तवमुपमश्रवस्तमं कवीनां कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् उपमश्रवस्तवमित्युपमश्रवः तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणां ज्येष्ठराजं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणां ज्येष्ठराजं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणः ज्येष्ठराजमिति ज्येष्ठ राजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदे पदे ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदे ब्रह्मणस्पदे पदे ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणस्पद आपदे ब्रह्मणो ब्रह्मणस्पद पद आपदे पद आनो न आपदे पद आनः आनो न आनः शृण्वन् शृण्वन् आन शृण्वन् न शृण्वन् शृण्वन्नो न शृण्वन्नो दिविरो दिविः शृण्वन्नो न शृण्वन्नो दिविः शृण्वन्नो दिविरो दिविः शृण्वन् शृण्वन् नो दिविः सेद सेदो दिविः शृण्वन् शृण्वन्नो दिविः सेद ओदिभिः सेदसेदो दिभिरोदिभिः सेदसादनगुं सादनगुं सेदोदिभिरोदिभिः सेदसादनम् ओतिभिरित्योतिभिः सेदसादनगुं सादनगुं सेदसेदसादनम् सादनमिति सादनम् प्रणो न प्रप्रणो देवे देवे न प्रप्रणो देवे नो देवे देवे नो नो देवे सरस्वते सरस्वते देवे नो नो देवे सरस्वते देवे सरस्वते सरस्वते देवे देवे सरस्वते वाजेभिर्वाजेभिः सरस्वते देवे देवे सरस्वते वाजेभिः सरस्वते वाजेभिर्वाजेभिः सरस्वते सरस्वते वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवते वाजिनीवते वाजेभिः सरस्वते सरस्वते वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवते वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवते वाजिनीवते वाजेभिर्वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवते वाजिनीवतेति वाजिनीवते धेनाम वित्रिय वित्रिय धेनाम धेनाम वित्रिय वत्व वत्व वित्रिय धेनाम धेनाम वित्रिय वतो अवत्रिय वत्व वत्व वित्रिय वित्रिय वतो अवत्रित्य वतो ओम शांति 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 ओम तत्सवितुः सवितुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं वरेण्यगुं सवितुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं सवितुर्वरेण्यं वरेण्यगुं सवितुः सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो भर्गो वरेण्यं सवितुः सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गः वरेण्यं भर्गो भर्गो वरेण्यं वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य देवस्य भर्गो वरेण्यं वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य भर्गो देवस्य देवस्य भर्गो भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धीमहि देवस्य भर्गो भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि देवस्य धीमहि धीमहि देवस्य देवस्य धीमहि 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 धियो यो यो धियो धियो यो नो नो यो धियो धियो यो नः यो नो नो यो यो न प्रचोदयात् प्रचोदयात् नो यो यो न प्रचोदयात् न प्रचोदयात् प्रचोदयात् नो न प्रचोदयात् प्रचोदयादिति प्रचोदयात् ओम शांति शांति शांतिः राजाधिराजाय प्रसह्य साहिनेके नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यम् कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो दधातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम् न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शान्ति शान्तिः।
शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये अगजा आनन पद्मार्कम् गजानन महर्निशम् अनेकदन्तम् भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे एकदन्तम् उपास्महे। पाहि गजानन दीनावना पाहि गजानन दीनावना सिन्दूरवदना श्रितजनपालना सायक अगणित गुणगण आनन्ददायक पाहि गजानन दीनावना साक्षात् परब्रह्म साई गुरुवन्दना सत्य साई 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 गुरुपदरञ्जन गुरु परमेशा गुरुपदरञ्जन गुरु परमेशा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु महेशा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु महेशा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु महेशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा चरण नमोस्तु ते साई महेशा परब्रह्म साई गुरुवन्दना सत्य साई साक्षात् परब्रह्म साई गुरुवन्दना सत्य साई गुरुपदरञ्जन गुरु परमेशा गुरुपदरञ्जन गुरु परमेशा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु महेशा गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु महेशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा सद्गुरु साई परतिपुरीशा चरण नमोस्तु ते साई महेशा चरण नमोस्तु ते साई महेशा चरण नमोस्तु ते साई महेशा साक्षात् परब्रह्म साई गुरुवन्दना सत्य साई साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम मेरे साई साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। मेरे साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। 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 मेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ है। 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 साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। मेरे साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। साई मेरे बाबा मेरे प्राणनाथ राम। साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। साई राम साई श्याम मेरे साई राम। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं मुझे शांति दो भगवान। मुझे शांति दो भगवान। मुझे शांति दो भगवान। मेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ है। 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 साई राम साई राम मेरे साई
Om Shri Sairam. Dear Swami, loving pranams at your divine lotus feet. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, loving Sairam to everyone. Welcome to yet another satsang and a special evening. These satsangs provide us wonderful opportunity to come together to relive cherished memories, magnificent moments with our Lord Sai. Today, we are indeed blessed to have Brother Litesh Majethia, who will be sharing his personal experiences with our beloved Bhagwan on the topic Omnipotence, Omniscience, and Omnipresence. A brief introduction about our Brother Litesh. Brother Litesh has completed his bachelor's in electronics and communication engineering from University of Mumbai, and he is currently serving as a senior vice president and head supply chain finance with Bank of Baroda. He is a seasoned banker with over 20 plus years of experience in various institutions of repute such as Standard Chartered Bank, HDFC Bank, Tata Infotech. He has been instrumental in launching various clearing systems such as UPI, NACH, IMPS, RTGS, and NEFT, etc. with NPCI and RBI. Brothers Litesh Majetia's Sai journey is more or less like he has been a Balavika student and he has completed 9 years of Balavika's curriculum in the Sai organization. He has been an active volunteer of Sai organization since last 3 decades. He has been blessed with Swami's room duty in Mumbai, Hachi, Latur, and Shimla visits of our beloved Bhagwan. He has been blessed by Bhagwan with several interactions and experiences. By Bhagwan's direct guidance and blessings, he has been instrumental in executing water projects in various villages around Mumbai, giving him a perspective of Bhagwan's immense grace. He has also been a speaker in various universities and colleges of international repute, such as University of Southern California, NIMMS, NIBM, and many more. Without much delay, I request Brother Litesh the stage to share his treasure trove of wonderful experiences with our beloved Bhagwan on the topic Omnipotence, Omniscience, and Omnipresence. Jai Sairam.
Saram, Brother Rajesh, thank you for this opportunity, Shri Satish Chandra. I believe the Chennai Samiti has been doing this sharing of experiences, seva, since the pandemic has started for the last more than 90 days, I guess, every day. And that's been a fantastic seva. So I congratulate all of you, the entire team of Chennai, that this has been, you're using this time for devotees to ensure that we get connected with our Lord back. So thank you for this opportunity. And this has been a pleasant moment for me as I recapitulate Swami's experiences in close quarters whenever he gave me that chance along with my family. And it's truly a honor to be here. So recently, we've seen or witnessed the Ram Janma Bhoomi, the temple foundation, taking place on 5th of August. And when I was told to kind of share my experiences, this one incident immediately recapitulated in my mind. In one occasion, Swami had called us for an interview, me along with my family, and in that interview, late Shri Ashok Singhal, the then VHP leader, was there, and he had come with 2 3 people, and there was a big map rolled up in his hands. And Swami asked us to go inside, and we all went inside. And as the usual case would be, that we sat near Swami's chair. Swami comes inside. He has this habit of ensuring that he closes the door himself and then switches on the fan and the light. And then Swami comes and sits in his chair. And as usual, Swami's style. क्या single कैसा है? So he did namaskar, and we all did namaskar, and then Swami started speaking to all of us, Yam Samacharam and all that. And Swami was speaking, and then he started speaking to us about other things. And when he was speaking to us, Ashok Shingalji was trying to unroll the map that he had is in his hands, to stretch it and kind of show it to Swami, uh, the map. Even we didn't realize what's happening, but then Swami's attention was constantly uh, caught by the screeching sound of the paper, right? And when it was opened, uh, Swami looked at it and asked Ashok Singhal, "Yem Samacharam." So, uh, what is it? Swami had then indicated to him. So he said, "Swami, this is Ayodhya map." "Oh," Swami said, "your Ayodhya map, let it be with you," he said. And then Swami started continuing what he was speaking to us and others. At every interval of 15 minutes, Ashok Singhal will again open up the map and try to show it to Swami. So when it happened 2 3 times, Swami said, "Ye Mira, what is the problem? Kya hai Singhal bolo?" So then Singhal opened the map again and said, "Swami, you are the same avatar of Lord Rama, and you only know which is the exact place in this map where Rama was born in Ayodhya. So, Swami, please, you please do some krupa on us, and please spot that point. We will ensure that Rama's temple is built there." Swami looked at him with a frowning face and then said, "Acha, tum ensure karta hai." So immediately Ashok Singhal was a devotee. He realized his folly, and he said, "नहीं स्वामी, आप बोलो वो हम करते हैं." So, अच्छा, क्या चाहिए बोलो? स्वामी, आप खाली हाथ रखो. So all that Hanuman Jatti, Saryu River, all those ghats, everything was in the map very clearly drawn, and he was laying, and he went to Swami's lap almost to show that map. And Swami was also seeing it with very keen interest, that map. And he saw the entire map, and then he said, "Okay." So Swami said, "Okay." Ashok Singhal said, "Nahi Swami, please point out where is the exact place of Rama's birth." Swami said, "I will tell you. Take this map of it." So Ashok Singhal took that map away, and then said, then he looked at me and said, uh, "मैं बोलूं राम जन्मभूमि किधर है?" Now that time, the topic of Ram Janmabhoomi was very much in fire, right? And I couldn't answer yes or a no. So I just looked at Swami and smiled. So then he turned towards other. बोल दूं मैं राम जन्मभूमि किधर है? तो अशोक सिंघल जी, "हाँ स्वामी, प्लीज बताइए बताइए कि किधर है राम जन्मभूमि exactly." And then Swami said, "Sachi mein main bolu." He tried to drag on that conversation. So that inquisitiveness of Ashok Shingal ji was getting higher and higher. "Yes, Swami, please bataiye kidhar hai Ram Janmabhoomi," and all that. So Swami then looked at Ashok Shingal and all of us and said, सच्ची में बताऊं किधर है राम जन्मभूमि? तो again Ashok Singhal ji said, Swami, yes, please bataiye, please, we want to know where is Ram Janmabhoomi so that we can plan it in accordance. So then Swami said, देखो राम जन्मभूमि कौशल्या का womb में है. And we were also like, what is Swami going to say? And when Swami said this, Swami also burst in laughter, and we also kind of burst in laughter, and even Ashok Singhal and team, because this was, I don't think this was the first time he said that, but Ashok Singhal ji knew what is coming on. So he said, no, Swami, every time you say this, please bless us, please tell us where is this thing. Then Swami became a little serious and said, देखो Singhal, राम जन्मभूमि का मंदिर बनेगा, श्रद्धा और सबूरी से बनेगा. He was trying to tell him that you should not be so. It should be with consensus. It should be with shraddha and saburi. So don't worry. मैं bless करता है राम जन्मभूमि बनेगा. So this happened in front of me in that interview room. So I was kind of reminded of this episode when actually the groundbreaking ceremony on this 5th of August was happening by our PM Narendra Modi. So Swami was always constantly ensuring that, and he then gave him advice as to how nation is important, how all of us should work together towards development of nation. To all the VHP leaders who was there, he then laid out a plan of Gram Seva. That time Swami was ensuring that Gram Seva is done by students. So how villages, 6 lakh villages, electricity, water, sanitation, everything should be. So he was telling all that to Ashok Singhal, and then they were also listening as to the entire plan as such. So uh, this was one good incident that I thought that I must share with all of you. And talking about Rama, how can we forget Hanumana, the great devotee of Lord Rama? We all know that Hanumana is Chiranjeevi, right? And Hanumana is also represents bhakti in its true sense, and Rama kaj kari beko atur. He is always uh, so uh, so enthusiastic to do the work of Lord Rama. And empty number of times Swami has also said that, you do service to the poor, you do my work, I will do your work. And that brings me to that famous statement again. Swami said, even to Ashok Singhal in that statement, Swami repeated, and Swami has repeated this sentence in so many discourses. Grama Seva is Rama Seva, right? He said, so the villages should be uplifted for the India to be uplifted. And then Swami said, we were actually doing the water project in Karjat district at that point of time. And then he pointed to some of us and he said, देखो ये boys ग्राम सेवा करता है, villages में जाके पानी देता है वगैरह. It was all under Swami's direct direction and the instructions. In fact, the Karjat village that the incident that I'm going to talk about, Swami, and that is, I don't know whether it is a coincidence, but Swami, when the water project inauguration happened, he gave 18th April 2004 as it was a Ram Navami day. I can still not forget that date. And there was an incident there that Swami was giving an Ram Navami date, and we did not know because all the dignitaries, even from HDFC Bank, that time I was working for HDFC Bank, were supposed to come and inaugurate. They had funded the project, and Swami had graciously said that, you inaugurate and call all the members of the organization and the bank on that day. So 18th April 2004 was that date, and it was a Ram Navami day when Swami gave that date as inauguration of the water project date. Here, brothers and sisters, I would like to say that Swami initiated us into Gram Seva. He guided us at every step as to how to do Gram Seva, go and do survey of every hut, every village and see what is the common problem, right? There was a complete format in which we had to do the survey. So each house, how many people are there, how many children are there, how many women are there, how many men are there, what is their common problem, what is the common ailment, how much is the per house income. By drawing that map of those villages, we came to know what is the one common problem that we need to address in priority wise. And we figured out that water was a common problem because in state of Maharashtra, it's all Sahyadri range of mountains. So all these Adivasi villages are based on the hamlet on the top of the hill. All these villages are there. And the water during non-monsoon seasons, they have to actually trek 3 or 4 kilometers down to fetch pail of water, right? And it was a tough scenario because the ladies of the village or the house spend almost their entire day just fetching that water because it's not easy. They have buckets and buckets of water on their head, and they climb up the hillock every day, every single day, and remaining time then they ensure that they do the house chorus, so that and their entire day is spent in that. The water acuteness is so much that even children miss their school many a times to just fetch water, right? And there is only one member of the family then earning, who is the male member. So the income is only single. So Swami said, see, if we do water project there, then the children will start attending the schools. The ladies need not spend the entire day to just fetch the water. And ladies also, and many of them, because the water scarcity is that they did not have baths. So our medical team analyzed there, and a lot of skin diseases were there, a lot of back problems were there because of the load that the ladies carried on the hillock, right? So Swami said, if you do a water project here, then one solution will ensure that the ladies, if water is available at their doorstep, the ladies are free from spending their entire day in for getting the water. Then children will ensure that the children will attend the school. They don't bunk the classes just to fetch the water. The skin disease, the back problem disease, all will go away. So one shot. So we said, yes, Swami, you please guide us how to do. And Swami actually found the entire guidance for us. And we started on working on the water project. And we did not know where the money will come from. Swami has said it will happen. And I'm now coming on to the incident of, so we did the first stone laying foundation, that is Bhumi Puja of the water project. The date is 22nd of August 2003. Three or four. I can remember the date, 22nd of August, because it's a rainy season, and it was we had to cross actually several streams of water or rivers of water to reach the hillock of the at that place. Now, what happened at that point of time was that because we wanted to serve Narayan Seva, because any Bhumi Puja, and that also in Swami's name, has to happen with Narayan Seva and his blessings of prasadam. So many of our youth members actually went the previous day night. It was torrentially raining. The cooking was done was to be done for about 1,800 villagers, and it so happened that uh, everything there was huge rains, but everything went off very well. All the villagers came; they were super excited because now they knew that Sai Baba is going to get water for them, right? And they knew, because government entities for decades and generations, they had no water at their doorstep. Government, all agency did everything, but due to corruption and everything else, nothing could happen there. But now they knew that since Sai Baba has come, our problem will get resolved. And with that joy and happiness, everyone, including Nimesh uncle, Ramesh uncle, and everybody else, we are about 150 youths visited that village for the inauguration. We did the Bhumi Puja, we did the Narayan Seva, we did the medical camp. And during one of the speeches of one of the persons, Swami's huge photo was kept and because of the high wind and it was a hillock, suddenly one of the speeches, I was sitting in the front, Swami's photo actually tumbled and just came on myself, and we, villagers and we all had applied kumkum and vibhuti on Swami's photograph, right? So that entire vibhuti and kumkum and all splashed on my body. But I could hold the photographs and we could place it back and tie it again back so that it doesn't fall again. But this was somewhere in the afternoon, just before the Narayan Seva, and we just completed the Narayan Seva. All villagers were very happy, youths were very happy doing Seva, etc. And we started. By the time we wound up, it was almost 4:30, which was Rahu Kalam, and we came down. And we were five of us to come down the last, and in one car to be accommodated. There were other 150 youth who were in 5, 6 buses which were following us. So one of our brothers who was driving a Scorpio car, and the village roads are very narrow and very bad roads. So we were driving very cautiously earlier, and then finally we reached a road where that road was a Karjat Mathiran road, which is also a small road but tarred road, very clean road. But it was raining and it is a small road and it has a lot of curves. So uh, brother start, because it was already late and we were, and this brother was also had come previous day night, so we had to reach home, and it takes almost 1.5 2 hours to reach home from that spot. So he was driving a little fast, and in that area he was driving at the speed of about 120 kilometers per hour, and it was a Scorpio vehicle, and five of us were there inside. And in one of the curves, when he was negotiating a curve, the vehicle skidded a bit. So I said, Ajay, jara aaram se, we have to reach home. So he said, Arey, you don't worry, we will reach home. I have to drive fast because I have to reach home, etc. So he said, once or twice I said, then if I say more, then he will he will want to basically ensure that I'm not there in the car. So I didn't speak further. On the third negotiating curve, it was there were some vehicles coming from front, and the left hand side of the vehicle, I was sitting next to the driver's seat, which Ajay was driving. So I was sitting next, and I was holding the bar because the car was too fast. And suddenly we lost the grip on the car, and the left hand side of the wheel went outside the road, and the entire vehicle tumbled. It almost took about 3 or 4, 5 somersaults, and the whole vehicle was topsy turvy. The tires were up and the bonnet was down. May I request brother to show the accident photographs to everybody? You can realize that the car was completely topsy turvy, and actually uh, when the car slipped, there was Swami's Ashadi Ekadashi song which was going on, which said in Hindi कि बहके मेरे कदम थे मैं होश में नहीं था सही राह पर चलूंगा सही राह पर चलूंगा, which means that uh, my legs were scintillating and I was not in my consciousness, but I will still walk on the path of liberation, was that meaning of that song which was playing in the car. And when the accident actually happened and the car was completely topsy-turvy, it must have traveled, jumped about almost half a kilometer, and the car was topsy-turvy. The song in the car was still playing, and with this song, I was like, uh, and I was saying Sairam, 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 Sairam constantly, because I knew that this was our last moment, and it was, I mean, there's no chance of survival because the speed and the roller coaster that the vehicle was making, uh, I couldn't imagine that we will survive. So I was just saying Sairam, Sairam, and Swami's name in mind. And then when the car stopped finally, I could hear this song playing on the background. And then that brother of mine said, "Is everybody all right? Is everybody all right?" And three people from behind said, "Yes, I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right." And uh, I was like in a trance hearing that song because I couldn't fathom what is happening. And he asked me, "Litesh, are you okay, brother Ajay?" And he shook me, and I came back to my senses, and I said, "I think I am okay." And we were all still natkafied because there was that the seat belt was there and it was topsy turvy. So vehicle was, and we were, our heads were down and feet were up. And finally, brothers who were traveling in the bus behind us came and saw accident happened, and then they realized this is our own car, brother's car. So they smashed the windows and slowly took everybody out. And while all this was happening, that song was still playing, that बहके मेरे कदम थे मैं होश में नहीं था सही राह पर चलूंगा सही राह पर चलूंगा. So I was, that made me kind of laugh, and people thought who were trying to pull me out thought that something has hit his head and he has gone, something has happened to his mind, and he's laughing, he's become mad or something. So I was still laughing, and then people outside said, "Please, brother, laugh afterwards. You come outside because car which may catch fire anytime now." So they literally pulled us out. And when I came out, I just looked at my body, whether any scratch is there or not, and whether everything is okay or not. And not even a single scratch, dear brothers and sisters, on my body. And immediately after this, my brother who was serving Swami in Puttaparthi called me and said, "What happened to you?" I said, "Nothing happened to me, but how do you know that something could have happened?" He said, "No, no, no. Now remember, brothers, we started at 4:30. This accident would have happened around in the evening. And this accident would have happened around 4:45-ish approximately. And that is a Rahu Kalam on a Sunday, because it was a Sunday. And this was Bhumi Puja, not the inauguration. 18th April inauguration was not a Sunday. This was Bhumi Puja day, 22nd of August. Uh, and uh, uh, and that time, uh, I asked him, what happened? Why are you asking me? When my brother called me from Puttaparthi, he said, "No, Swami just came down and he said, तुम्हारा वो बॉम्बे ब्रदर," he used to call me from Bombay brother, "तुम्हारा वो बॉम्बे ब्रदर का बहुत बड़ा एक्सीडेंट हो गया है और पूरा गाड़ी टॉपल हो गया है, एंड बट देयर इज नथिंग टू वरी, स्वामी ने सबको बचा लिया है." Now, even when I say this at this point of time, brothers and sisters, it gets goosebumps on me, because accident has just happened, and when the accident is happening, Swami is telling in Puttaparthi, which is about 1,000 kilometers away, saying that I have saved them, nothing to worry, right? So, my life today, if I'm breathing this life, is all because of Bhagwan, and it's only His will. I was connecting this to Lord Hanumana, that he is uh, Rama Kaj Kari Beko Atur. If we are actually wanting to ensure that we do Bhagwan's work, he will ensure that our life is completely taken care of. And this is for all my young brothers and sisters who are in Chennai, that we are all busy in our youth, in adulthood, to ensure that we make our careers, we study properly. All that's very important, and we must do all that. But at the same time, we should ensure that if Bhagwan has given us so much of grace, we must ensure that we do His work in whatever capacity we can. Gram Seva, some Narayan Seva, some medical camp, something that you all think is feasible to you. But we must spend once in a week to do Seva, and that is how then He, takes care of all of us, including our life, our career. My career, I tell you, brothers and sisters, it's and this reminds me of another incident, which I must tell you, that how Bhagwan is more bothered about all of us than we ourselves are bothered about ourselves, right? Uh, actually, my blood parents expired in 1999, 98 and 2000. And there was nobody to look after, and we had Swami ensured that we are comfortable. He handed us over to my current parents, which is Sima Acharya and Vasudeva Acharya. And Swami told that these are my boys. You please take care of them in 2002 May. And that's how our journey started. I was studying at that point of time when this happened. And uh, 2001 I completed my graduation, and situation was such that because of the health of my family I had to work. So I had got a campus recruitment in Tata Infotech, and I was working, and with a and I was the only earning member of my family because I was the eldest in my family, because my younger brother was yet studying. So I had no choice but to ensure that I worked. And I got a job in Tata Infotech. Moment I got this job, I was very happy. Boss was good. I worked with full dedication and commitment, etc. And one such time in May 2002, I went to Swami. I was working that time in Tata Infotech. It was summer course, and Swami told us that he actually made us stay in the hostel in Vrindavan and summer course time, and he said, "You attend the full summer course. I'll speak to you every day." And Swami is so gracious because he spent time with us. He paid personal attention to us, made us stay in the hostel though we were not students, and ensured that we do the summer course. And in one of those interactions, Swami called us for the try sessions, and after that, an interview and try, and said, "Tum kya karta hai?" So I said, "Swami, मैं टाटा इन्फोटेक में काम करता हूँ." So टाटा इन्फोटेक, अच्छा, but क्या काम क्या करता है? So that time I was in networking, designing of network spaces and all. So uh, uh, I said, "Swami, वो computer configuration network." And अच्छा. Then he looked up and he said, "ये job तुम्हारे लिए बराबर नहीं." Uh, so I just kept quiet because it was a struggle to make two ends meet at that point of time if I don't work. And I had just got a job from the campus. It was only 8 months, and we were just settling down. And so I just folded my hands and sat there. And then he went on to say that ये job तुम्हारे लिए बराबर नहीं, job छोड़ दो. Just to translate this in English, this job is not right for you. Networking computer job is not right for you. You please leave that job. So I said, Swami, with great reluctance, I had to say that, Swami, job is good, boss is also good, salary is also good, and kindly request you to, please consider this because, he knew everything about our family. I need not tell him that what is our financial condition, but so I was trying to plead him. So he said, नहीं नहीं नहीं, ये job तुम्हारे लिए बराबर नहीं, job छोड़ दो. Second time he said, third time he said, fourth time he said. Then I just kept quiet, and I did not know what to say. So I just kept quiet, and I was thinking in my mind as to how I'll leave the job and how I'll make the meet ends. But little did I realize that Swami is Purna Avatar, and he knows everything what is good for us. He knows our future, our career, our life better than what we know ourselves. So that time, that realization was not there, and it was really unfortunate that Swami was spending and telling thrice that, and I'm yet not registering it, that I should do immediately what he said. So, so I said, "Okay, Swami, as you say," and that summer course got over, everything got over, and I went back to my job. And generally, what all of us do, right? All of us will try to find another job and then leave a job, right? So I also thought that, okay, Swami has said it is good that I should leave the job. That means I should start searching. I'm applying my own thought process, right? Here. That means I should search for another job and then leave this job, right? So the whole scenario was like, I was trying to search for a job. Those days it was not very easy to get a job. So this happened June first week we were back. July again Guru Purnima was there. So again those were golden days. So every time we used to travel to Puttaparthi or wherever Swami is, he used to be gracious enough to talk to us, right? So I went again along with my family uh, in 2002 in July again to visit Swami for Guru Purnima for 3 days, combining that Saturday, Sunday holidays and all that. And then Swami was gracious enough to call us for the interview that time also. And movement, he must have met about I don't know how many people in between and given so many darshans in between. But moment and there were some few other people also in the interview. Moment I entered the interview room, he first question he asked me. I told, he told this in Hindi, but I'll say it in English. I asked you to leave your job, isn't it? Did you leave your job? First question in front of everybody, moment we enter the interview room. Now I started trembling because I had not left the job. Somebody had told me to leave the job. I was actually trying to search for another job, and I thought that I will leave the job, give the resignation after that. And Swami was so angry on me. And then he just fired me for left, right, and center for at least 15, 20 minutes. Dona pota buddhi ledu. You have no value for my words. I'm spending so much of time with you, but you're not understanding. I'm trying to tell you, leave the job. You're not leaving the job, not listening to me. What? And like it was going on and on, and everybody was like in the interim seeing me that, what wrong I have done with that. And I was like full of tears rolling down my, and then finally, Swami was, I just got hold of Swami's feet and said, Swami, please stop. I ensure that moment I leave the interview room, from here itself, I will fax to my boss that I'm leaving the job. Moment I said that, he was, he stopped firing, and then he spoke to others. And in this entire, I was not able to pay attention because everything was going on in my mind that what a blunder I committed. I should have listened to Swami. And he was so angry, and I do not know what will happen and all that. Interview got over finally, and it was as if, generally you do not want the interview to get over. But this was one such interview that I was wishing and praying that it should get over and I should get out, because it was so much of so much I couldn't fathom Swami's this thing. And he is karunamaya, but when he is angry on you, he will be angry, and that anger is also due to karuna. Once I finish this incident, you will realize how it was karuna. So finally I got out. From there itself, I back to my boss. My boss was saying, what is this? I just gave you a promotion, not even almost a year over, and I've given you a promotion. You got an increment. Why are you leaving? I have given you all the liberty. I said, sir, this is nothing to do with promotion or anything that I want. I don't even have my next job in hand. But there are certain things that I cannot share with you. So please understand that I'm leaving. But you don't worry. All the projects which are there, I will ensure that I will complete it and handhold anybody who is taking over from me. And I'll suggest you few names also from my team who can take over. And all that, with all that conviction, he got a little, he was also very angry, very agitated, and lost his cool. And he asked me, where are you speaking from? When are you coming? I said, I'm in, he knew I'm a Sai Baba devotee. So I said, I'm in Puttaparthi, and oh, your Sai Baba would have told you. I said, look, sir, don't talk anything about Sai Baba. I have to, I have to do what I have to do. So I'll come there, and you will not be burdened by anything. And that's where the conversation ended. And finally, I went back to Bombay. I ensured that I took only 1 month's salary, and the next 2 months, I requested them not to pay me salary, but I was still there, ensuring that all the handover work is happening. So this was in July, and then finally, uh, uh, I could quit the job, and within 7 days of all this happening, I got a call from HDFC Bank saying that would you be we need we are launching electronic banking, and would you be interested in such kind of thing? I said yes, I would be interested. You take my interview and see if I'm suitable, and if I get through, if I'm suiting the profile and everything, then you'll have to give me at least 15 days time to come back and revert to you. He said okay, okay. Three rounds of interview happened, business, HR, all credit, everything went off very smoothly, and they were very happy, and they issued a letter to me. HR was actually reluctant to give the letter to me in my hand because she thought that I would actually go with this letter and negotiate somewhere else. But actually, I wanted the letter so that I can go to Swami and take his permission, because what if he tells leave the job again, and that will be a big problem, right? So I actually finally somehow got the requested and got that letter. Went to Puttaparthi, sat in the darshan line. Generally, and this happened in August. Uh, uh, generally, Swami, that time, those days, he used to see us and he used to generally talk or call. But from the day one, Swami was trying to see, Swami was coming for the darshan. He will ensure that, and though I was sitting in the first row, he would ensure that he will take those letters or everything from everybody around me, but he will ignore me royally, as if I'm not existent on this earth. First darshan, second darshan, third darshan, fourth darshan, same thing happening, and no attention given. He's completely ignoring me, and you know this Swami's this status, right? I mean, when he does this, you are completely broken. One, I was desperately in need of a job. I had a good job. He ensured that I leave the job. Now I'm getting a new job. He's not looking at me. Last interview, he has fired the hell out of me, and now he wants me to kind of uh, be there and just watch the tamasha. That's it. 7 days passed away like this only. I couldn't join because Swami has not given permission, and it was my last day. And in the evening, those days, Swami used to come to the Ganesh portico, sit there, and all the students used to sit around him, and Swami used to talk for half an hour, 1 hour to the students. I had this privilege to sit just behind the students, so it was good. And the warden Shiv Shankar Sai that time knew me well, so. Uh, so he was also sitting there with the students, etc. And Swami was talking. Anil Kumar ji, S.V. Giri ji, that time was the vice chancellor, and they all were there. Venkatraman ji was there. So, so I was thinking, and Swami was talking, and every 5 minutes, students used to have a roar of laughter there, because Swami was telling some incident. That time I did not realize what it is, and I was thinking in my mind, oh God, what is the paristiti? I had a good job. Now that got, I had to leave that job. Now new job has made. Swami is not speaking to me. Last interview was angry, and how will I sustain all this now? I've also Swami is not speaking and all that. All that was coming to my mind, and then suddenly I remembered that incident in Mahabharata serial which used to come. If you all have had a look at that, just before the start of the Mahabharata war, Lord Krishna and Arjuna's wrath comes in between both Kauravas and Pandavas, and there uh, Arjuna keeps down his bow and says, "I'm not going to fight." And then Lord Krishna, there the Bhagavad Gita begins, where Lord Krishna starts speaking to Arjuna. And on the Kaurava side, there is Pitamaha Bhishma, who is able to see Lord Krishna, but not able to hear what Lord Krishna is speaking. And I'm sitting in Sai Kulwant Hall here, and Swami is sitting there. Though I'm able to see Swami clearly, but I'm not able to hear anything. And every 5 minutes, the students are laughing. So, and I'm not able to hear anything. And then I got reminded of this incident which I'm talking about of Mahabharata, where Pitama Bhishma says कि यदि हवा का एक झोंका भी भगवान श्री कृष्ण के शब्दों को मेरे कानों तक पहुंचा दे तो मेरा जीवन धन्य हो जाएगा. Which means that looking at Lord Krishna speaking to Arjuna, uh, Pitama Bhishma brings tears to his eyes in that serial and says, if a wave of a wind brings Lord Krishna's words to me in my ears, I will be redeemed. He tells. I got reminded of that incident in a fraction of a second. All this is happening in some few seconds, right? So I got reminded of that incident, and I thought to myself that, and I also prayed from the bottom of my heart that if this one breeze of air can reach Bhagwan's words to me, my life will be redeemed. And I really prayed from the bottom of my heart. And lo and behold, what happens next is Swami calls Shiv Shankar Sai, the warden that time, and talks to him something. I'm seeing all this. And then Shiv Shankar Sai sir comes directly to me and says, come, Swami is calling you. I am trembling because the hall is full. Swami is not seeing me for the last 7 days. He's not talking to me. And I know that last interview is completely lambasted me, is upset with me. So I was not sure whether he's calling. So I told sir, are you sure he's calling me? He said, yes, yes, don't be mad, come fast. And then with trembling hands, somehow I reached the portico and show my face to Swami from the side. And Swami said, "Ha, kabhi aaya? Come sit down." It was a relief because I was thinking that Swami is still upset and he's not going to talk, but he started talking. Then he introduced me to all the others sitting there, and then he said he was talking about Surpanka incident in Ramayana to the boys. So he continued that incident, and that is why those boys were laughing because Swami was describing how Lakshmana cut the nose of Surpanka, and that continued, and I was in bliss. All tension of mine was relieved because now at least I got my Swami back, and that gave me a lot of relief that he's talking to me and he's made me sit here, and I could hear now everything that he was speaking. Then the music started. Those days the flute would start and Swami would get up. And moment he got up, he looked at me and said, "So that HDFC Bank offer letter was there, right in my pocket up." So he looked at me and said, "Wo kya hai?" I said, "Oh, Swami, I forgot. Swami, this is you had told me to leave the job last time. I've left the job now, and there is another job which I've got an offer letter. So this is HDFC Bank." So he took the letter from my hand, again sat back on his chair, which normally he doesn't do once the music starts and he starts going. And then he read the entire offer letter. He asked me many questions: which bank, what is the profile, what is the role, how much was the previous salary, how much is this salary, everything in detail, about 3-4 minutes, all those question answers. And then he said, this is the right job for you, join karo, you blessed. And that's how from technology, actually I'm an engineer, from technology I turned towards banking. And I had no inclination to go to banking. I did not know B of banking. And today, by grace of Bhagwan, I could say that some of the most powerful deals Bhagwan has done through me in the banking, for the transaction banking sector uh, in India, right? So uh, uh, this was Swami's direct hand of ensuring me that I come out of the technology piece and I go into banking, because that was good for me. Uh, Many years after this incident, when my mom happened to show my kundli to somebody very learned, he said that to me that, and he did not know any background. This was about 2006, 2007, and that time there was no Facebook, there was nothing, right? So he did not know any background. We were meeting him for the first time. His name was Krishnamurti, is no more now. And he said that looking at your horoscope, I can make out that you are in a field where which is not your education background, and hence you are very successful. Is it not? And there was some divine intervention. I was flabbergasted by this. I did not know how did this guy know about all this, right? And that time I realized, oh, what Swami has done to my life. And today, brothers and sisters, by grace of God, uh, a very successful banker at his lotus feet. Had it not be him, it would not. I would not have been so successful, right? So, message here, brothers and sisters, especially to the youth of Chennai, is that he takes care of your life. He takes care of your careers. He takes care of everything. Let us be available to him for his work, and that's very important and powerful. Even in this pandemic, we've seen the entire organization working towards, supplying food packets, giving good food, cooked foods across India, community kitchens, masks, shields. Recently, we did a project on mobile phones where Adivasi ashram schools, residential schools, did not have their education continued because of COVID, and how Bhagwan knitted everything well, so very well, so that in 1 week's time, the phone actually reached the poor children and they could start back their education. So there are, if we take one step, he will take 100 steps. One such episode also happened uh, during Gram Seva, right? In Gram Seva, we were doing the same water project, and we were actually digging the through the forest lane, because all these Adivasi padas are actually based in forest lands, at least here in Maharashtra. So, and it was on the top of the hill. So, the one of the part of the project was that we dig at least 6 feet below the ground, 5 to 10 kilometers of pipeline laying. So, villagers were digging that. And actually, to dig anything or do anything in a forest land, you require central government permission. Now, that's never going to happen, right? And we were doing it for a good cause so that the villagers get water at their doorstep. So, one such occasion when we were actually supervising the work with the villagers, and villagers were digging this trench, the forest range officers came there and they asked, where is the permission to do the work? So we very politely said, sir, we are from Sathya Sai Organisations. Sai Baba has personally guided us to do this work, and we are actually trying to reach the water to the villagers. We have no commercial, personal, any interest in this. We just have here come, and all the villagers were there, and they also said yes, they are coming to help us, and no, you should not trouble them. So they said nothing doing. If you don't have permission, stop the work and please go away from here, never to come back. And we said, sir, are you sure? Because the villagers will not get water. He said nothing doing. Basically, their interest was that we give them some bribe, and that was impossible because Swami's work we cannot do. We can even think of any bribe. So, a couple of brothers were standing next to me, and amongst one of that brothers, he was also a very chartered accountant and a very learned man and a very good devotee of Swami. He's still there with us, and he pulled out his purse from his pocket. So I was wondering, what is he doing? And then slowly he opened his purse. He pulled out Swami's photo and a vibhuti packet, which I didn't realize. I thought he's pulling out some money, and he gave to one of those officers, forest rangers. Forest rangers did not realize what it is, so they took it in their hand. That time I saw what is it? What is it? It was Swami's pocket-sized photograph and the vibhuti packet, right? And the moment they took that in their hand, you won't believe this. This has really happened. They took that photograph and vibhuti in their hand and immediately looked at the photograph and said, next second, Marathi mein they said, आमच्याकडून चूक झाली, आम्हाला क्षमा करा, आम्ही जातो. That means we have erred on our part. We are extremely sorry. You please continue your work. We are going. Instantly, Swami's picture in his hand. 1 second before it was they were asking us to leave the land, and they went away. They had come in their bike. They went away in their bike and never to be seen again. So after that, after this incident, I went to Swami to show the progress of the water project with all the photographs. And I was trying to say, Swami, this is the well, this we have done, this, that. And then suddenly Swami said, so I said in one of the conversations, I said, Swami, ye humne kiya hai, means we have done this, we have done this. Then Swami looked at me and said, you have done this. Instantly I realized. Then Swami said, wo forest ranger yaad hai? He said, do you remember that forest ranger? So that time we realized his omnipresence everywhere, every second, right? So brothers and sisters, it's so scintillating even when these thoughts come to my mind, and the goosebumps which I get even remembering all these incidences today. So so this is one of Swami's leela as such, right? On his omnipresence and omnipotent, we should be just available for his work, brothers and sisters. Swami's name, like Hanumana, right? His name and his work was always with him. So if you are to please Lord Rama, Sai Rama, I think these are the two main mantras, his name and his work, both together. Doing one also, only his work will not help because it will not develop our true self. And only chanting his name also will not help. You remember how Hanumana told Vibhishana that you are taking Ram Nam in Lanka, but what are you doing to release Sita from Lanka? Nothing. And then he realized, and he came with Hanumana to Lord Rama, and then he helped Mother Sita to come out. So Sai Rama always loves that we chant his name and do his work, and that's, to my mind, very, very important and very, very critical for all of us to do in whatever capacities we can do. But spend time to do some paropakaraya punyaya, apaya parivitanam. That is very critical in our lives, and that is the message that Bhagwan himself, has lived and taught us. We've seen several times he has been doing Gram Seva. Even hospital when he was building, all of us know that he accepted with love that 5 rupees that that farmer villager gave him, right? So that is critical, the seva bhav, to do something, because that elevates us to the next level. And does he need us for the seva? No, he wants us to do that seva so that we can elevate our levels of consciousness. And how? He has shamata to do all things. One such incident, very famous incident in Dharmakshetra, there was a gentleman who used to do Swami's, room duty, and he was, Swami had come to Bombay, and he was a Punjabi, a very tall, stout guy, a very, just like Dara Singh, who acted as Hanumana, somewhat that structure, right? He was a devotee of Swami, and he was standing on the gate. And he was not doing the room duty. He was standing at the gate where Swami's entry to the residences, and that was his duty. And he was very, very strict and following all the norms of doing the duty. But that was his first time, or maybe first time seeing from so closeness, because every time Swami used to go by car, this time Swami was walking up. So he could see Swami from the very close quarters. And this fellow, being 7 feet height and very stouted guy, he thought, how can such a small 5 feet 3 inches kind of a person be God? He was just thinking. Moment that thought came in his mind, Swami, while he was walking, he just looked at him and walked. And behind him was Indulal Shah. So Swami went to his residence. And then Swami was talking to Indulal Shah, and Swami said, after dinner, वो गेट पे वॉलंटियर है ना, हाइट, उसको बुलाओ. So Indra said, yes, Swami. So after dinner, Swami went and was sitting in his chair in Satyadeep, and he was called. So his name was Mr. Panjwani. So he went there and sat and did pranams to Swami. So he said, come, do my Pada Seva. So he sat down and he started doing Swami's Pada Seva. Now Swami's feet was like this, the toe fingers were like this, and he was doing Pada Seva. And when he was doing Pada Seva, one of his fingers, Panjwani's fingers, went in between these two fingers. Swami just may have pressed lightly, and this Panjwani, who was a stouted Hatta Katta Punjabi fellow, shouted and talked, ah! And it was like, he could hear his bone crack to that extent. So, and then Swami released that, and Swami said, what happened? Why are you shouting? He could not say anything. He was still doing the Pada Seva. He said, Swami, enough now, you can go. He came out with his hand like this and straight away went uh, and showed it to the doctor. The doctor advised him to do a X-ray, X-ray of the finger, and you won't believe that finger had a hair crack, hairline fracture. So next day he was standing in the duty with that fractured hand, and then Swami was again going up, and he said, "क्या हो गया हाथ में?" He realized his folly, that Swami is all powerful, because he was thinking that such a short man, how can he be God? So he, in his own way, gave a message to this person that I may appear physically small, but I have all the energy and the power in the world. So that was one thing that I knew and I wanted to kind of share with you. So he doesn't want us. He can do everything that he wants to. He doesn't want us to spend so much of time and energy for himself. He wants us to do seva and namasmarana only because he wants us to get redeemed of this life and evolve in this life. That's the message that I carry, brothers and sisters, from this. Um, Another beautiful incident in the 60s or 70s, I guess, this happened that Swami was in Bangalore in field, and Swami Chinmayananda was actually conducting a Bhagavad Gita course there, uh, and he had invited Bhagwan for inauguration of his Bhagavad Gita course. So knowing that Swami is going to visit, the whole pandal was full along with Chinmayaji devotees and Baba's devotees. And Swami addressed the discourse. He gave his discourse, and Swami took leave of Swami Chinmayananji, and he came off. Uh, After that, the Bhagavad Gita Yagna of Param Pujya Chinmayaji went on. And at the end of that session, Chinmayaji asked any doubts or any questions on this session. So one of the devotees of Chinmaya raised his hand and said, yes, I have a question. So he said, Swamiji, the topic that day was on consciousness, how to raise our consciousness, right? And Chinmayaji Nanji answered very beautifully. He said, there are two ways to raise your consciousness. Continuously be in satsang, study scriptures, do dwelling on the self, and dire, you will get attuned, your mind will get attuned, and your consciousness level will start rising dire. Another way is, he said, go to Whitefield, have Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba's darshan. You sit there, thousands of people sitting there, Baba comes, appears for darshan, instantaneously consciousness rises. Thousands of people at a time, just by mere darshan. consciousness rises. So, brothers and sisters, we have been very fortunate to have Bhagwan's physical form, his experience, his direct sambhashanam, his pada seva, his divine discourse. Directly, we have heard from his mouth. But uh, can we utilize this, what we have got, as a practical? I always, think about this like this: that uh, reading of scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, etc., is like a school student studying a physics lecture in a school. So when magnetism in school is taught by a theory teacher, how it is taught? It is taught by formula of magnetism, the principles of magnetism. So when students attend that, they have to understand with their mental or intellectual power, right? But when the same magnetism is taught in a laboratory, when the theory class is over and whenever the lab session is there, and the same teacher wants to explain magnetism to the children in the lab, what does a teacher do? He or she gets the big magnet, gets few sprinkles of ions, and then some iron pieces, and tells the children that you hold the iron pieces and you see the iron pieces getting attracted. Hold a big piece of iron towards the magnet and you can feel the pull, the magnetism pull towards the iron gets attracted towards magnet, right? So magnetism in theory and magnetism in practical. Bhagwan Baba gave us the lessons of spirituality practically by his Sannidhi, by he coming closer to us, by he explaining us how to do Gram Seva. And I'm sure during this Sevas, Narayan Seva, Gram Seva, any Seva, we all have got our bouts of experience that has brought immense purity, joy within ourselves, right? We have elevated our consciousness, right? So Swami has taught us practically how to elevate our consciousness and reach to Him. Let us enhance this experience more and more. Yes, theory is also important to understand the principles, and those who are interested should read Bhagavad Gita, should read. I myself very tuned to Bhagavad Gita, Upadesha Sahasri. Uh, uh, we have also learned other scriptures like Atharva Veda and all that. But when we learn this, we feel that we are so fortunate that Bhagwan, without even, because he knows our levels, we can't understand scriptures, right? But he has been so gracious on us that he has given us the direct physical experience of that consciousness elevating us. And his messages are so simple. In his daily routine, he will uh, tell you something which has so profound meaning. That takes me to one such incident, right? Earlier there were these brands of ice cream, Joy ice cream and Quality ice cream. And Swami and the owners of both these ice cream, they were devotees of Swami. And there was one festival where they all both came to Joy ice cream owner and Quality ice cream owner both came to receive Swami's darshan, and both were sitting in the portico. Swami was inside the interview room. Outside, there's a stiff competition between Joy ice cream and Quality ice cream. But here, they are both just Swami's devotees, right? And Swami opens the interview room door after the interview, and he comes out and he sees the owner of Joy ice cream and Quality ice cream sitting in the veranda almost next to each other at a distance. And then Swami looks at both of them and says, Joy mein quality nahi, quality mein joy nahi. Which means there is no joy in quality and there is no quality in the joy. Now, this is a very simple act and a pun word used by Swami, that the the joy that we receive from the worldly affairs, it has absolutely no quality in it. It's not a permanent joy, right? And the quality, uh, that is bhajans, satsang, namasmarana, his seva, many a times we don't derive ananda from them. We only end up increasing our ego, our this thing. So the message for me was that, you know, this is the status of the world. Joy mein quality nahi, quality mein joy nahi. Have that quality joy. And that is so profound. Such a simple act of Swami, but highest Vedantic philosophy. Essence of Vedantic philosophy in 4 words Swami has explained. Help ever, hurt never, love all, serve all. I mean, I met some good saint. He said, Litesh ji, only an avatar can prolifically classify this entire Vedas and essence of 18 Vedas and Puranas in such a short two-liner. Help ever, hurt never. And it has profound meaning. So this is the kind of avatar that we had with us, which we are also lucky to have his blessings, his sannidhi with us always. One such uh, famous incident. I'm sure I'm not shooting. Oh, I have 4 minutes left. Okay, so I will quickly come to the concluding two incidents that I want to narrate, and that's about bhakti. Swami always used to play importance as to how much of bhakti we have had in our hearts, and there are various definitions of bhakti in our heart. And Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he was the Prime Minister, he came to Puttaparthi and Swami was speaking to him, called him for the interview. And Swami was sitting on the chair, and he also ensured that a chair was laid down for Atalji also, so that he can speak. And Swami was again narrating how, what are the challenges before the country, and Atalji was narrating, and Swami was responding to him as to how he should lead the country, what all we should do in the country to get it streamlined. And there was a lot of dialogue that. But one thing that Atal Bihari Vajpayee wanted to ask a personal question, and that was very important. He was a bachelor. He was a very good devotee and an ardent devotee of Swami, right? And he wanted to really sincerely ask this question to Swami. Swami, what is bhakti? So Swami, Swami style, right? When he was speaking, he takes some pauses, and then when he took some pauses, Atal Bihari Vajpayee asked, Swami, what is bhakti? Please tell us. Swami said, let that question be there. Then he started again narrating about how he should run the country. This happened 3-4 times, and then finally, he asked Swami, what is bhakti? Please tell me. And at that instance, one student who was doing the duty there, because Atal Bihari Vajpayee was coughing in between, Swami had indicated that boy to get water for the Prime Minister. So the boy got water, and there was a tray, and there was water in the glass, and he was just entering at that point of time when Atal Bihari was again asking Swami, what is bhakti, with that tray. And then Swami looked at that boy who was entering, and Swami said, drop the tray. Without even thinking for an instant, that boy dropped the tray from his hand. He did not think that Prime Minister is sitting. He did not think it's glass and water may spill over everybody, including Swami. Glass may hurt anybody. Just Swami said, and without applying his own self, unlike me in that interview when Swami was trying to tell me that leave the job, I was applying myself, my buddhi in front of Swami, right? But this fellow, such an obedient fellow, and implicit obedience, right? Immediately Swami said, drop the tray, he dropped the tray. At that instance, and Swami said to Atal Bihari Vajpayee, this is bhakti. Implicit obedience is bhakti. Brothers and sisters, this example has left a deep, profound message in my heart that his implicit obedience has to be done at any cost, whatever he has told us. I have been foolish enough not to follow it myself for when he was there physically, as I told you in my example. But now at least I try my level best, and I've seen his unseen hand whenever I follow his values and bhakti in professional life, in personal life. Every time any problem, he's there and ensuring that it is resolved, right? And he knows the best for us, brothers and sisters. He really knows. I can tell you from my experience, however we may be worried about ourselves, he is much more worried about us than anybody else, including ourselves. And he wants us to be uplifted. So that's for sure. One thing, last thing I would like to leave you with is this: that many years back, about I think 10 years back, I had gone to Shirdi, and after having Shirdi Sai Baba's darshan, there was a huge queue besides Abdul Baba's Chawdi. Now, who is Abdul Baba? Abdul Baba is a contemporary of Shirdi Sai Baba, and he also expired. And his grandson was there. And when we there was a big line outside that Chawdi to see Abdul Baba's grandson. Why? Because he showed a photograph that he was when he was a kid. Sai Baba, the Shirdi Sai Baba, had taken him on lap, and he has a photograph, right? And hence there was a huge line to see how the person who has Sai Baba for himself, correct? And he was alive, and there was a huge queue outside his chowdi to see or have his darshan, who has had darshan of Shirdi Sai Baba. Brothers and sisters, don't be surprised if after few years, uh, people queue out to our house to have a glimpse of us just because we have had that darshan or saubhagyam to have Bhagwan Baba's darshan. And for that, we will have to, have that implicit obedience amongst us. With this few sharing of experience, I thank all of you for your patient listening. Thank you, Sairam. Rajeshji, over to you.
Thank you, Brother Litesh, for your wonderful speech and sharing your wonderful experiences, the two personal experiences on various aspects. I mean, I get a feeling that though you did not study in Puttaparthi or Brindavan, I think Swami has given you all the experiences that a typical student would get, being in Trai sessions, attending his discourses, and giving you all of those interviews. I mean, I didn't get a feeling even for a moment that you are not actually a alumnus of Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning.
Yeah, it's been His
So I
grace,
think
really.
Swami has guided grace. Exactly. So, I mean, it's been wonderful to hear all your experience on omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence of our beloved Bhagwan at every stage of your life. With that, I think we have a few questions that have come up. So let me start with the first question. And by Nama Smarana, shall we be able to realize the omnipresence or any other sadhana is to be practiced?
So, first of all, let me admit, sir, that I am this question. I'm in no authority to subscribe to anyone, but I'm just sharing my feelings. So it's not a. I'm incompetent to answer this question, to be very honest. But what I have seen of Swami, sir, I can just narrate that experience. Uh, Whenever he has spoken, right, Swami has been always practical about, even if you see in simple messages, which is universal: love all, how will he love all? With sadhana, with sadhan, Chatushtai Sampada, with bhajans, with this thing, will be able to love all. And then the next immediate words are serve all. Swami has always ensured that so practical, the physics and the physics class of theory and laboratory practice, right? Swami has always told us that uh, only namasmarana or only doing service will not help. This both sadhana, namasmarana, and service to the society will ensure that we uplift our consciousness in ourselves. That's my humble reading from whatever Swami has spent time with me.
Thank you for your wonderful explanation about connecting the theory and practice. Without understanding the theory and putting that into practice, I mean, we don't get to learn anything. So it will always remain in theory. I mean, the example that you quoted, love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. I think these are some of Swami's, some of the core messages which captures the essence of the entire Vedanta, as you also explained it during the talk. So there is the next question. This is also something related to Shraddha and Saburi. When things don't go as per plans, remember Swami has better plans for us. We believe in Swami and have faith that Swami will look after our prayers. Don't carry your luggage, hand it over to me, just like we do in our journey by bus, train, or plane. So the question is, we do have Shraddha, but Saburi is something we lack. Any guidance regarding this? I know you already quoted through your own examples. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, sir? Again, this I am not the right person to actually tell you, okay, how do we get saburi, because even till date I don't have saburi. I'll just quote this immediate example which happened just in last week, right? uh, we all had decided that we will ensure that the phone reaches the mobile phone for the Adivasi school children reaches on last Sunday uh, to the children. Now the phone had to be ordered from Delhi. We placed the order in Delhi. uh, I spoke to the vendor and he assured me that tomorrow, so Wednesday we placed the order. He had assured me that if you place the order on Wednesday, Thursday it will be shipped. Friday, even in this pandemic situation, it will reach Bombay. And because we had to, open up all the boxes of the phone, lay the battery, install the education apps, Google Meet, and all that. So a lot of work had to be done installing the apps. So I said, okay, if you deliver by Friday, I will do that entire work on Saturday and Sunday, because Swami's commitment was there to give the phones to the children so that Monday onwards they can start their studies. It was a perfect plan. And what happened was, Friday, after various follow-ups, flight from Delhi got loaded with the phones only at 5 o'clock in the evening. By the time the phones actually reached here in Mumbai, sorry, it was an 8 o'clock flight, SpiceJet flight. It landed at 10 o'clock, and there was no way that the offices will be open at that point of time. And hence, I was on continuous calls with that vendor. That boss, what is happening? Why are we not getting? I was completely impatient, completely, right? And I was really frantically worried. I couldn't sleep that day. I can see a flight actually landing from my house here. So I was counting where is that flight going to land. That I'd never seen waited for some phones to land so desperately. And ultimately it landed, and next day morning he assured me 10 o'clock it will reach. It did not reach at 10 o'clock. The phones actually reached at 12:31 to his godown. When we went to his godown, the condition was that we had given him 1 lakh rupee advance, and the remaining were supposed to be balance transferred from the trust. But apparently Saturday was a Bakrid holiday, which was an RTGS holiday from a banking plan. I, being a banker, I should have, kind of thought through this, but I thought it will come on Friday. So, and I had checked Friday, RTGS was open. So finally, that guy was not ready to release the because the phones unless and until we did a complete payment. Finally, on Saturday at 5 o'clock, we could somehow manage the payments through a trust account at 5 o'clock in the evening, which was supposed to be done in the morning at 10 o'clock, right? So that we could use the entire day. It happened only at 5 o'clock. By the time we rushed to that place to fetch the boxes in our cars. We got the boxes in the cars at about 5:30. We rushed back to Dharmakshetra. Moment we are unloading the phones, there is a shout coming from our good volunteer Deepu Darera. He said, "Litesh ji, please आइए Swami का आरती कीजिए." And this was 5:55 in the evening, and I couldn't just fathom that Swami's residence, somebody is calling me pandemic to do the aarti. So all the volunteers, we were 5, 6 of us maintaining social distance. So we said we'll carry 3 phones for Swami's blessings. We got Swami's blessings. All of us did aarti, and then only we could start the work. So Swami sent a message. What was the message? That I want these phones with my blessings to go to those children tomorrow when you distribute, so that they get a clear. Otherwise, there was no chance of we doing aarti. And he said, and my patience was saburi you were talking about, sir. My patience, I was up and down from 10 o'clock in the morning, in fact, previous night also, till 5 o'clock. So, to be very honest, if you tell me, do I have saburi? I'm absolutely sorry, I've yet not reached the saburi levels. But this is how Swami teaches you at every instance to be patient. And then what opens out, you have to be open to what he's doing, what his plan is. And when we are open to that, you suddenly see that grace coming in, right? So be what you are. Like I try to be what I am, but I think Swami has his own way of pulling you through it and teaching you the saburi if you are available to him. And I'm sure for everybody it is the same case. He's available to everybody. We should just be open to him.
Yeah, thank you for that wonderful explanation. That shows that we need to surrender ourselves to our Lord, and not think for a moment that we are doing it. The moment we surrender completely to Him, I think He takes care and finishes things. So I think we need to surrender to develop saburi is what I could understand from what you said for that question. So I'll move on to the third question.
And I wanted to add that Swami made the phone reach on Sunday morning, right at the time the students were called at 8:30 sharp. So we also ensured that the phone is configured till 2 o'clock in the night in Dharmakshetra. 6 o'clock we started, and Swami's grace, Swami's words there were fulfilled. That children will get the phone. They were called at 8:30, and that got fulfilled. It was, and then you see the experience of the children. Some of the photographs that I'll send you, you can probably circulate the expressions of the children. It's awesome how grace is flowing even without his physical form. He is still very much there, brothers and sisters, in omnipresent form, touching every heart of ours.
Jai Sairam.
Sorry.
The third question, Sairam, is I've heard that one reborns even if we do something bad or something good. So how can we get out of this cycle of birth and death?
Again, I am not qualified to answer this question, to be very honest. Again, I'll admit my incapability of this. But whatever little understanding I have, I will share. And it may be right or wrong, I don't know. But this is a. See, I feel that Swami's devotee, right? Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai is Baba's devotee, correct? They need not be worried about. They need not be worried about cycle of birth and death. He is, if we have had his darshan, sparshan, sambhashan, he is going to take care of it. That does not mean that you don't do anything and act exactly opposite to what he has said and still he will take you. No. But we need not be worried about it in inverted commas. At the same time, so let's not be worried about, and a lot of philosophies like Jain philosophy, etc., makes you worry that, in every karma. So Swami once in his interview told me, uh, my mother told actually Swami that, Swami, janam janam tak आप हमको अपने पास रखना. So Swami immediately, the translation in English is this. It's my mother prayed to Swami physically in one of the interviews in the interview room, that Swami, please keep us close to you in every birth. In every birth, please keep us close to you. Spat was Swami's reply. जन्म जन्म क्यों? यही जन्म में मुक्ति देता है, दिल में रखता है. So we have got such a powerful Lord. We need not be worried. We just try to follow whatever He has said to the best of our abilities. I'm not saying we will be perfect. Whatever, sincerely follow, and He will ensure that, He takes us through that Janma Marana Sansara. Like that Anup Jalota's bhajan is there now. When Kevat came to Reverend Ramji went to Kevat and requested him to get him part through that Nadi. Uh, he said and he wanted to give him his money for that travel, Lord Rama. So Kevat said, please, if we are from the same lineage, same what do you say, profession, you please do not give me. They don't give money to each other, right? This time you have come to my hut, so I have ensured that I have taken you in my boat through this river and crossed you towards the other side. When it is my time, Prabhu Lord, that I come to you, please take care of us. We have no ability, we have no capability, but you take care of us. And I think He will take care 100%. I am confident of this.
Very good, Sairam. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful answer. I mean, it all boils down to, I mean, whatever we do, good or bad, we offer it to God, and He takes care of all the good and bad actions that will definitely take us away from this birth, rebirth cycle. So, thank you for that wonderful explanation. So, there are a couple of more questions. So, how do we do seva without an iota of ego, the I-ness? That we are doing. So can you share your thoughts on that?
Again, my humble submission will be that I am also full of ego and I'm nobody to answer this question. But I'll tell you what I feel about it, sir. Uh, Seva Swami gives. In fact, in this phone incident only, there were so many instances where I got egoistic, right? And Swami badgered me. He badgered me to teach me that who are you to think that you are doing this seva, right? And actually, I'll tell you the same incident. We were supposed to take an indemnity from the school headmaster, saying that these phones will be used only for the purposes of education and nothing else, so that the trust and everything is safe, right? And because I'm a banker, I mean, again, that ego, right? Banker, and a lot of clients meet me. I'm an expert. So I drafted that indemnity and I thought I was expert. And I drafted that indemnity and I wanted to send it to All India President. And one brother, Mukesh, he said, so I said, I want to send it. So he immediately asked me, who has drafted this indemnity? I said, I have drafted this indemnity. So he said, Acha, then better get it vetted through somebody who is, before we send it to. And immediately the spore of ego came in me. How could he say that? No, all people, big people's line up my cabin to take my views on every document that is signed in the bank. And so then Swami, and I blurted out my egoistic nature, right? And Swami immediately calmed me down after some time and I said, look, this is not I want your purity. You may have knowledge, but your purity. So I calm down. I send it to Nimish Bhai. Nimish Bhai makes the changes and whatever little changes, and he sent me. But at every instance of seva, even now, I have ego. So so when somebody asks me how will we not have ego during the seva, we have we don't have ego. Very good. I mean, they are evolved souls and blessed souls. But some people will be like me who are not evolved souls, right? They are still at learning levels, right? So Swami will badger you. Don't worry. His job is to ensure that your ego goes away at any cost. He is not interested in you doing this service. He is interested in you getting all the shadripus out of you. That is why he is making you do this. That is why he'll send people who will badger your ego, who will make sure that your patience is lost, right? So sir, this process of seva itself will take us, will ensure that our our egos go away.
Fantastic. I think you made a very important point that when Swami chooses us to enlighten us or empower us, not the other way, right? There are thousands of people that Swami can line up to do some activity. So it is only for our own benefit. Swami is choosing us as an instrument in his work. So I think if you have that thought, as you have mentioned, I think we can let go of this I-ness. But as you said, it's pretty difficult on a day-to-day basis to check on it. But as long as we are aware of it, I think Swami will always guide us.
Yeah, even if you are not aware of it, he will make sure we get aware, because it is his job. He knows how to, because his sole interest, Bhagwan's sole interest is your unnati, your raising of.
Right.
He will ensure that once you are at his feet now, he will ensure that that happens, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, definitely, Sairam. So I think the question and answers, I think we answered most of it, and let's go ahead and I'll do a quick summary of what you just told us. I think there is wealth of information that you shared with us on the topic, which is omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience. So so I'd like to I'll do my best to do justice to what you said in quick 3 or 4 minutes. So I think you talked about a major accident that happened after you completed the Bhumi Puja for a water project. We all know that Swami water project is very close to him, and he has done a lot of work on that space. And how he narrated that incident to your brother, assuring him that he has saved each one of them in the car. So that definitely showed that Swami is always like a loving mother, is taking care of all of us, and especially for those who do their work, he is the one who is definitely protecting. So it's very important that we keep doing his work, so we always get his umbrella of protection. So it's always good to do his seva rather than pursuing our own career ambitions. I think we should always be looking to find an opportunity to do seva for Swami. So that incident at least gives me that sort of angle to what you have said. And also he was asking you to surrender yourself by asking you to leave your technology job at Tata Infotech, and how he has asked you to during your try sessions to leave the job, and how you were thinking from your own perspective about why not to leave the job, and how Swami was really angry when you met him again, and why you still leave your job. So I think those incidences make us feel that Swami wants you to have some sort of implicit obedience, which you talked about when Atul Bihari Vajpayee was asking about what is implicit, what is bhakti, and how Swami narrated through an incident where he asked a student to drop the tray, and he didn't bother about who was sitting there, what would happen to him, what other people will think about him. So that sort of an implicit obedience is what Swami is expecting all of us, which I think is nothing but a sort of a surrender ourselves to Swami is what I think that incident which you narrated, and how Swami even takes care of our entire career, right? Not just your career, just takes you through this Bhava Sagara, as they say. He knows what is good for us. At times we think that, okay, we want to plan our life, we want to chart our career in the way we want, but ultimately he knows what is good for us, and he guides us at every possible moment. So that really showed us how Swami has taken care in your life, how he has charted your career in the banking sector. Uh, the next thing that you quoted about your Swami says, always says, you take one step towards me and I'll take 100 steps towards you. And the forest rangers incident where when they handed over the Vibhuti packet and Swami's photo, how it changed their mind. And when you quoted that incident to Swami saying that we did this project according to your wishes and all of that, and Swami said, did you do it or how it happened? What happened to the forest ranger? Did he change his mind? How did he change his mind? So I think these leelas definitely show us that Swami was definitely there watching you, and every step of the way, he's the one who's doing it. It's just we are just the instruments, as they say, who are part of the entire the practical aspects of things that we do. And the other thing which you talked about, his name and his work, and they should go together. One without the other will definitely not help to elevate ourselves. I think that's also very important. And and you talked about this the room duty in Dharma Kshetra, where that person who was the mighty person, how Swami explained him how omnipotent he is, how powerful he is, by breaking his whatever the little finger or has to prove that he is omnipotent. And how Chinmayananda really said how you can elevate your consciousness by having a divine darshan of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. And this reminds me of this incident where Swami says, I mean, I've come to meet Swami for a darshan. Swami says, it's not you have come to meet me for a darshan. It's me who have called you for a darshan. So how such darshans elevate our consciousness, I think that really helped us reinforce that. And how Swami has given us practical approach to elevate our consciousness through Grama Seva, Narana Seva, Namasmarana. So he has given us a lot of practical approaches to be able to elevate our consciousness. So all we need to do is follow his commandments and then elevate ourselves is what we need to do. And the funny incident of how Swami talked about this joy ice cream and the quality ice cream. Joy mein quality nahi hai, quality mein joy nahi hai. I think Swami is, how he uses the pun on the words to expound certain Vedantic concepts. I think that is also something very enjoyable experience. And definitely you talked about how Swami had expecting the devotees to have implicit obedience. I think the surrender is what is the ultimate thing that Swami expects, so that he can take charge of our lives. I think that's very important. So the moment we, allow us Swami to take charge of our lives, I think we don't have to really worry about what is going to happen in our life. So, and of course, you answered almost all of the questions, and which had all the right ingredients for a good answer. So I think with that, I think we are coming to the end of this satsang. Thank you, Sairam, for your time and sharing your blissful experiences with Swami, personal experiences. I think that has definitely would have enlightened all of us who are listening to this satsang. Thank you very much, Sairam.
Sairam, just one small clarification, brother. Perfectly covered. I think you covered in such detail, but I think maybe I missed out clarifying this. When I say when I say we should not focus on our careers, I'm not saying that we should not do our duty or not focus on our careers, but we should not be only focused on our careers. We should ensure that Bhagwan has taught us some seva and namasmarana, that wherever we go, we should continue to ensure that we are always connected and we are closer to him. So career, Swami always says, duty is God, work is worship. So both are important, but not at the cost. Career, not at the cost of not doing seva, not at the cost of not doing namasmarana. These two are very critical and important for our overall development and growth, is what I have said.
Jai Sairam. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam.
Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात् 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 ॐ